Good morning, Propane Buzz vlog update. Want to hit a couple of things here before we all get too busy into our day. The Chicago markets really had a huge pricing blowout yesterday afternoon. Right now, best I can tell, the Chicago propane market has the highest prices of anywhere in the country. And that is a significant market, moves a ton of propane, serves multiple states. You're talking about, parts of Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, maybe even down to Kentucky at some points in time. So this is a significant market. Now, there's really not a lot of place for, the trucks that normally would go to that market to escape that price point if they want to. Okay, maybe we can go west over to Iowa City or Coralville or Farmington or Rockford or Jane. Those places are on allocation. In the case of the One Oak pipeline and their batching system, they aren't on allocation, but you don't know if the gas is going to be there, if it's there now when you send a truck there, when your truck arrives there to get it. Risky proposition. So that is a tough go there. I started writing about my concerns for off-hub basis blowouts as far back as June of this last year, and it just seemed like the tea leaves were pointing to something like that in the inventories and fundamentals. I thought we might see a little more chaos at the hubs by this point in time than we have, but we haven't. But we've certainly seen the chaos show up in the off-hub basis blowout area. Still not seeing any additional production coming online in the Ohio Valley because temperatures have been cold. Now, that leads me to this next point is there is going to be a warm-up coming. Looks like it could be about a 2-week warm-up. Let's, to use a sports analogy, let's call it a halftime. All right, go into the locker room, make some adjustments. Now, there's not a lot of adjustments you're going to be able to make because during this warm-up, during this halftime, we're not going to see production explode. We're not going to see lines at terminals ease. We're not going to see truckers all of a sudden starting to call you and say, hey, can I haul more gas for you? I don't have any work to do. And everybody's still going to be redlining. The retailers are going to be out. If you've been short filling, you're going to be catching up on those, which means you're also going to want to catch up on your storage tanks. There won't be any to much at all extra trucking capacity that's available out there. So it's going to be a working halftime, but a much needed one that will allow the industry to catch up a little bit in places that it's dangerously behind. And I think by the time we get to the end of March, we'll look back and say, boy, we sure needed that. Now, of course, unless it just goes blowtorch the rest of the way, that would stink. But nobody's suspecting that at this point in time. BayofWX.com, MDA, they've been right for a long time in the last several years. They are both seeing a return to very, very cold weather the back half of March, maybe even the back half of February, rather, maybe even the back 2/3. I know that of a gas production house that has a team of meteorologists on staff. They're seeing the same things. Back into the freezer in the back half of February and into the first half of March. If those things verify, we will remember that this halftime maybe saved in several instances, some significant calamities from unfolding. So, and if you're not into sports, just consider it like, the eye wall of the hurricane's going over your house right now. You had a crazy storm, and now here's the eye wall. Oh, cool, this is great. Oh, until the other side comes and the winds hit you from the other direction and destroy everything that wasn't destroyed before. Probably not that dramatic. So, but that cold is coming by forecasters that I place a lot of trust on, and I think many of you do now as well, because I've shared so much of what they've talked and written about with you over the last several months and even years in some instances, for those of you who've been around with me for quite some time. Now, over in Eurasia, they are very, very cold right now. And as typically will happen, if we are in a anomalously warm type of setup, which that's what we're heading into for the next couple of weeks, warmer than normal, and in some areas, significantly warmer than normal. On the other side of the northern hemisphere, they're typically cold. So just like when we were in our cold after Christmas for about 3 weeks, they had moderate temperatures over there. Now there are some projections. I've seen Dr. Judah Cohen of MIT, an AER who specializes in the polar vortex. Really is a simplification, so I apologize to Dr. Cohen. But he and I converse regularly on the things that he's seen. I'm a geek. I pay close attention to these things. There are some projections, some model projections that suggest the is it the stratospheric or tropospheric? Don't know. That the polar vortex could be perturbed, a perturbation, if you will. And when that happens, that can be good for us, because if you think of the polar vortex, the coldest air on the planet around the North Pole, and there's the winds around that act as a fence holding in horses, and the cold would be representative of these horses. If you have a strong fence, those horses can't get out. But if you have a weakened fence or a hole in it, those horses can bolt out and will. So a warming event in the stratosphere, which weakens the polar vortex, that weakens the fence. That's what that means. Warming causes a strong polar vortex to get weak, open the door, open the gate, and the horses run out. Might try that one with the kids at home. See if they like some meteorological analogies and humor. We'll see. So hopefully some good things still in the offing. Seems like it. People that are a lot smarter than I am related to the weather and climate believe that the back half of Feb is going to get cold, and the early part of March will get cold. And if those things happen, we will have more than we bargained for, and we'll be glad, which is crazy to say, for this warm up. We'll talk to you on Monday.